My big brother used to have an imaginary brother, and he would always play with him, but sometimes he would say, "Stop, leave me alone," or "No, I don't want to go to my room to play." My mom would ask him, "What's going on?" And he would say, "He won't leave me alone." Of course, my mom had no idea what he was talking about and thought it was just him being a kid with an imaginary friend. Well, a day after my brother's birthday, he had these balloons. And keep in mind, my brother is just a little kid, and he's obviously not tall, so he couldn't reach the plates, knives, forks, etc. It was around 10 to 11 p.m., and my mom heard the balloons pop, so she went outside, and my brother looked really scared. So my mom asked him, "What's happened? Did you pop the balloons?" And my brother said, freaking out, "No, it was him," pointing to his imaginary friend that my mom obviously couldn't see. My mom saw the knife next to the balloons and immediately knew that he was too short to reach any of those things, so she said, "Get out of my house," to my brother's imaginary friend. Since my mom couldn't see him, she asked my brother if he had left already, and he said he had left and thanked my mom. Later, about 10 to 15 minutes later, my cousins came over and said that he had seen a woman in all white with her hair in front of her face at the front door. My brother said that that was his mom, and she opened the door. My cousins were already inside and asked my brother if she was still there, and my brother said yes, and that she was mad. She started to yell for her to get out, and then she asked my brother if she was still here, and he said no. My brother is now 19 and says he still sometimes sees him in his mirror. At the time, I was around 7, maybe 8 years old. My best friend and I spent a lot of time hanging out in my basement. It was our favorite place to play. One afternoon, we were home alone. As we walked down the stairs, we heard it again, a noise coming from the cellar under the basement stairs. We always joked about it, saying we could hear strange sounds coming from there, but we never thought much of it. But this time, it was different. The sound was clearer. It almost sounded like a man's voice. We froze. We were home alone. Gathering our courage, we opened the cellar door. Nothing. Just darkness. Just silence. We shrugged it off and kept playing. But a few minutes later, it happened again. The same eerie noise. This time we needed proof. I grabbed my iPad, turned on the cellar light, propped up the camera, and hit record. Then, terrified, we bolted upstairs, leaving it running. For 6 minutes, we let it record. 6 long minutes. When we finally worked up the courage to go back down, we turned off the video, sat down, and hit play. At first, everything looked normal, just us setting up the camera. Then, about 15 seconds in, we heard our footsteps walking away, and suddenly, the screen went black. Not like the lights had turned off, not like a technical glitch. It was as if someone, covered the camera. The video stayed black, the whole 6 minutes. And then, as we heard our footsteps returning, the video suddenly came back to normal, just as if nothing had happened. Nothing was in the way, nothing should have caused it. But somehow, something or someone made sure we never saw what happened in those 6 minutes. I still don't know what it was. And honestly, I don't want to. Some stories aren't just told, they linger. This is one of them. My mother's family lives in a quiet countryside about 20 miles north of a small town called Seneca. The area is filled with old mansions, some built long before the 1990s. Beautiful, yet unsettling. One of my mother's cousins, a young man, preferred to sleep outside on the patio. The open air, the cool breeze, it was peaceful. That is, until the night he first heard it. A voice, someone calling his name. At first, he thought he imagined it, but then it happened again. This time he was sure it was coming from the roof. He checked multiple times, searching for whoever or whatever was calling him, but there was no one, just darkness. And then he started feeling it, a presence, watching him from above. And when he looked up, he saw it, a shadow, but not just any shadow. This one was white. For 2, maybe 3 nights it lingered, always there, always watching. His family dismissed his fears, telling him to sleep inside, to ignore it. So he did. That night he lay in bed, surrounded by the familiar. The metal chest box, a common sight in village homes, sat in the corner of his room. Everything felt normal, safe, until 3 a.m. A sound woke him up, the metal chest. It was opening by itself, and standing beside it, that same white shadow. It watched him, motionless, almost waiting. He bolted upright, ready to confront whatever it was. But in a blink, it vanished. The next morning he was weak. The color drained from his face, his energy slipping away with each passing day.